Boom. And you're off, Joss.
All right. Welcome, guys. This is our very first Coefficient CrossFit Fireside chat. It may be our last, we don't know. But we wanted to come to you to talk to you about the Open, what it is, and why we think you should sign up for it. But before we do, in case you guys don't know who we are, you should know who we are, but in case you don't, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Jocelyn Miller. I'm one of the owners at Coefficient CrossFit and the owner of Motherhood Strong. And then I'll let my co-owners introduce themselves as well.
Yeah, I'm Pat Miller, Jocelyn's husband, co-owner and co-founder of Coefficient CrossFit. Joe, you go next.
I am Joe Aiello. I am co-owner and co-founder and head coach of Coefficient CrossFit.
I am Matt Searing. I am co-founder and co-owner of Coefficient CrossFit.
And I am Amy Searing, co-owner and co-founder of Coefficient CrossFit.
We are the 5 best friends that anyone could have coming to you about the Open. So first, what is the CrossFit Open, the Worldwide CrossFit Open? And let's just talk about like what it is and how it's structured. Coach Joe, do you want to give like a basic rundown of what is the Open?
Sure. I will answer that question by starting with what are the CrossFit Games? CrossFit Games are CrossFit's event where they can claim that they have found the fittest man, woman, and team across the entire world. Now, there's a process to get there, and that process begins with the Open. It is an opportunity for anyone, literally anywhere in the world, as long as they have access to a CrossFit affiliate or access to a gym with the necessary equipment and some sort of recording device, where they can participate in the Open. It is 3 weeks long. Each week, CrossFit headquarters releases one workout that no one, except for the person that comes up with the workout, knows about. And then everyone who is participating in the Open has the opportunity to complete that workout. And the better you do, with the accumulated scores over those 3 weeks, then you will proceed into the next level, and then the next level, and the next level, and then you get to the games. So that's the CrossFit Open in a nutshell.
And the workouts are released every week on a Thursday night. There's a big announcement from CrossFit HQ. And every athlete in the world who's participating has, from that moment when the workout's released until the following Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, to complete the workout and enter their score. At Coefficient CrossFit, we are going to do the Open workout during class times on Friday. And then we have a big event we call Friday Night Lights each Friday of the Open, where people can come in at 5:30 and we just do the workout formally for as many people as who want to show up. It's a fun party. Everyone does the workout. We'll usually have food or drink or some kind of activity afterwards. So just a fun way to get it done. But if you're not available on Friday during classes or for Friday Night Lights, just talk to a coach and you can totally get the workout done on Saturday, Sunday, or even Monday, as long as we work that out, right? So we'll find a way for you to get your workout in one way or another, but Friday's a really good chance to do it. And so that's going to be Friday, March 1st, Friday, March 8th, and Friday, March 15th are the 3 days that we're doing at Coefficient.
And friends or family are invited to watch and cheer us on. I mean, that's the greatest part of it, is like the community cheer everyone on. I mean, there's going to be heat, so you're going to have, like, let's say 6, 8, 7 people going at a time, and then everyone else cheering them on. And I mean, and that's what the Open really has built around, the community. And then Friday Night Lights, so fantastic for that.
Okay, so what I'm hearing my co-founders say is that there's some real like 5K vibes to this, where like it's a bunch of people doing something hard together, cheering each other on, and there's a feeling of accomplishment at the end, which I think is really cool. So that could be a reason why someone chooses to do the Open, is the community aspect of it. But if you've never done the open before, what do we think as a group of 5 owners? Why do we think our clients should sign up for this besides that community feeling?
Pat, you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I think ultimately, at the end of the day, CrossFit, we're all here to push each other and to just improve our overall health and fitness capabilities. And the Open gives us a really unique opportunity in the fitness world to just try to set a data point for yourself and understand where are you at today. And that way we know how to get better. There's a couple of different ways to approach this. I mean, naturally, because it's a competition and, it's kind of the first starting point for anyone who has ambitions of going to the games, et cetera. If you are a competitive minded person, it is a great opportunity to compete against people like directly, right? Like you can have someone you want to beat in the Open, et cetera. And so it's a great opportunity for that, very naturally set up to do so. But I think even for those who are not necessarily, of a competitive mindset or in that competitive mind frame going into this, ultimately it's a data point to understand, relatively where are you at in your fitness journey, right? The cool thing about the Open is there's hundreds of thousands of people that do this across the world. Reality is none of us are going to get first and none of us are going to get last, right? So doing the Open is just about finding your relative spot in the fitness world. People, especially early on, tend to do better than they think they're going to do, right? Like, oh, I'm kind of in the middle of the pack, something like that. And over time, we're able to use that data point and say, okay, you were in the 50th percentile of people this year. Let's raise that a couple of percentage points, right? Or, in this type of workout domain, you were in the 80th percentile, but in this type of workout, you were in the 30th. So we kind of know your weakness. We know what we want to work.
What do you mean workout domain, Pat?
Yeah. So as Joe will always emphasize, the purpose of CrossFit is to, increase our power output through various domains of fitness, right? That is the mantra of CrossFit. And at the end of the day, these workouts for 3 weeks are going to test all different types of working out, right? It's going to be strength, it's going to be cardio, it's going to be, cycling barbells, it's going to be heavy, smaller lifts. At the end of the day, it's going to test everything. And so you're going to have the opportunity to see what you're good at and what you're not. There's going to be skill work, right? There's going to be jump ropes. There's going to be complicated gymnastics work. And so you're going to figure out what you can do and what you can't. There's scaled versions for people that don't necessarily have the top level skill sets. But at the end of the day, again, the Open more than anything is just a chance to know where you're at so we know what to work on over the next year. And it's very rare you have a quantifiable, objective way to evaluate that when it comes to any fitness domain.
Yeah, so if I was an inexperienced CrossFitter, let's say I'm one of Coefficient CrossFit's newest members. I've only been doing CrossFit for 3 weeks. You're saying I should sign up for the Open because it's going to show me what I can continue to work on in the future and where I could focus my energy on getting more fit.
Exactly. And the reality is it's easy to understand where you're at when you're thinking about like a 1 rep lift, right? Like, oh, my back squat today is 200 pounds. I want it to be 225 tomorrow. That's what the Open does for general fitness, right? Like, okay, when it comes to like my overall fitness or my fitness in a certain type of workout, I'm in this general percentile across the CrossFit community. Now I want to make that better, right? Or I want to slowly improve that, et cetera. So again, it's a starting point. It's a data point. And it doesn't matter if it's your first Open or your 10th Open, it's just a data point. No matter what you've gone through that year, maybe you've been injured. I remember the year that we had our first child, right? Like I was not working out as well. I was not eating as well. My Open standing went down, right? But again, I wanted the data point to know, okay, been through a lot this year. My fitness hasn't been on point, haven't been as committed. Where am I at right now? Right. So again, you've got to enter the Open with the right mindset to know, hey, it may not get better every year, but take the reality and just use it as a jumping off point for how you're going to approach the following season.
Okay, I love it. On that note, let's say we have an experienced member who perhaps came to us from another gym. Either they recently moved here, or they just moved to our gym as we opened. They've done the Open before 5, 6, 10 times. And they have what I like to refer to as Open fatigue, where they're like, man, like I've done this so many times. I'm generally going to fall right in this window of fitness where I'm like pretty okay at some things. I'm not that great at other things. I already know this about myself. I've been doing this for so long. Why should I do the open? And I was chatting with Amy about this earlier, but we were talking about how excited we are because we have experienced that ourselves, to do the open in this new environment, in this new community that we have created at Coefficient. So I was wondering, Matt and Amy, if you wanted to talk about that for just a little bit.
Go ahead, Amy.
So one thing I love about the open is seeing people, especially CrossFitters that aren't as experienced, maybe conquer some new movement that they didn't think they could do. Like I've heard it referred to as the magic of the open. Like someone maybe get their first pull up or their first double under, something like that. I had my first and only muscle up in an open workout, and I've not been able to do it since. But somehow I got one that year. So to me, it's the new community, and it's definitely a bonding experience. Everybody's there cheering and encouraging each other. And even though it's technically a competition, it doesn't really feel like that negative competition vibe. It's a really supportive, encouraging environment. And I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've experienced over the years just the burnt out of it. Just like, yeah, CrossFit just wants my money. I want to, I don't care about the open. I don't care where I place. But when I get into it and work out like on a Friday Night Lights community, I mean, I love that. I love the aspect of everyone cheering you on. I'm not a big fan of everyone watching me because it's kind of like I want to be in my own little world, and I don't want to disappoint people. That to me internally, I'm like, I want to do better. I want to do what people expect me to do. If I don't, I feel like a failure. But no one thinks that. Like when you get done, people are giving you high fives, good job, and they don't care what your score is, your time is. And it's just that community that I'm excited about because like this community we have in our gym is fantastic. The people that we coach, members that we coach, that we work out with. I mean, I love them, and I love to see how well they do. So I'm really excited this year versus other years I've not been as much, but I'm excited about
Yeah, I think we do have something really special, and we kind of are already building this vibe in all of our classes across all our class offerings. But specifically our 5:30 p.m. on Fridays has that like happy hour end of the week vibe going anyway. So if we sprinkle a little open magic into that, I think we could have something really cool. So that is something I'm looking forward to too.
Yeah.
Okay, so why should I pay CrossFit $20 to do the open if I could just put my score in the app on push press on our Coefficient app?
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead, Joe, please.
I was just going to echo what you said earlier, Pat. It's great to have it and understand where you fall within the gym, and you can leave it in the push press app. And certainly we want you to put it in there when you're finished with the workout. But to Pat's point earlier, that's only going to let you know where you fall in the gym, right? And most of us have probably a pretty good idea of kind of where we sit. But that's only, one example, right? Why not understand how you fare across the entire city or the state or the entire nation or the world? Or let's say you're a special segment like a first responder or a nurse or a teacher. Those are all special segments within the CrossFit Open. And you can see how you line up with all of the other teachers in the country or the world, something along those lines. I think Pat's point earlier was exactly perfect.
And you can also look at your age. I mean, age is a factor. Like I'm,
Yes,
close to 50, and you look at I'm competing against some 20, 30-year-olds. But how do I compete against? How do I look with other 40-year-olds? Is my fitness level comparable? Am I beating them? Am I behind? Like that's really cool too. Like in my community, for 40 to 50-year-olds, where do I fall?
Yeah, exactly. And another thing, just to clarify too, is like we're obviously we want people to do the open. We want them to be part of this awesome experience. The $20 goes to CrossFit HQ. We're not incentivized by CrossFit to get people to sign up. Like at the end of the day, we just want our community doing this together and we want to have some fun, right? If you pay to register and like be part of the official like tracking on CrossFit's website, to me that adds like that mental push, like, okay, I'm doing this, right? It's just like the same reason you pay your 30 bucks to do your 5K race. Do you need to pay 30 bucks to go run 5K outside? Of course not. But you do it just to be officially part of the event and see how it goes. And again, I think that just makes it a little more of a commitment for people. But at the end of the day, if there's a reason you just really don't want to do that, we still want you to come work out with us, right? You don't have to register on CrossFit HQ to show up for Friday Night Lights or do this with us. We just think it adds that little extra special magic to just be officially part of something. So yeah, of course we want you to do it. We're going to keep pushing this with you guys, but we're not doing it for any reason besides we have experienced what the open can be and why it's so much fun. So yeah, I just want to be transparent about why we're pushing this so hard.
Great. Okay, to wrap up, because we've been chatting for a while now, but there's two questions I have left. One is, how should I work on maintaining my body and my recovery during the open? These workouts are intense. There's a natural inclination to push yourself to the extreme. That's what we are hoping for. We want to see how hard can you push during this to prove your fitness. Now, let's say it's Sunday and I have the 2-day sore. I can barely sit to the toilet when I need to do my business. What should I be doing in between to make sure that I'm ready to go again the following Friday?
Well, I think immediately we need to make sure that we are hydrating. Hydrate, drink your water. If you guys do hang out, which we want everybody to hang out after Friday Night Lights in the gym, if you decide to have a couple of adult beverages, that's fantastic. I certainly will, but I'm definitely going to be drinking water while I'm doing that. We want to have fun, but we also need to be responsible about that. But get up and move around. Okay. The inclination when we're sore is to not do anything. Okay. And that's quite possibly the worst thing you could do. You need to get up, oxygenate your muscles by having blood flow to them. So if, Friday night crushes you, maybe come in on Saturday, do the workout, maybe just come in for open gym. All right. Sit on a bike, sit on a rower. Maybe you just move around a little bit on some foam rollers, a lacrosse ball, utilize some of the monster bands and the resistance bands that we have, and just stretch and move your body. All right. Monday, certainly when you're back in the gym, talk to your coaches, talk to me or anybody else, and just say, hey, I'm feeling pretty beat up. And we will modify for you. As with every workout that we do, it's always infinitely scalable. So regardless of what it might be, we can make sure that we can work around it for you. And then my third point would be, we have Paula. Sign up with her, get in touch with her, and massage. That deep tissue massage is amazing to help you with recovery. So,
Oh, did she pay you to
I'm sorry.
So did she pay you to say that?
What's that?
We pay you to say that.
She paid
Yes.
you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Every time I say it, I get a couple bucks. So,
No,
And the massage component.
yes.
and what I want to throw in there too, though, at the end of the day, this is just, these are tips to help you just, show up your best for the open, because again, you just want to find out where you're at. But the other reality is that if you've been to our gym on Fridays for the past 5 weeks, we're doing open workouts on Fridays. I don't want people to think these workouts are fundamentally that much different than what we normally do, right? I think the difference is the intensity level you bring to it, because you are trying to figure out like, where do you rank, right? But at the end of the day, these workouts are just more CrossFit workouts, right? Very similar to what Coach Joe is going to program Monday through Thursday. And again, just to make sure you're not thrown off, like we've been doing them on Fridays, right? So everyone at Coefficient has a good taste of what these workouts will be like. They're very different. Some are 20 minutes, some are 4 minutes, right? And they're everything in between. So I don't want people to think like, oh, these workouts require a different type of recovery than normal. It's the same thing you guys go through with soreness and everything else from that. you are going to hopefully be pushing your intensity, maybe even more than you do during the week. And that's why recovery is really important. But fundamentally, there's nothing actually different about what you'll be doing.
Okay, so
And
oh, go ahead, Amy.
I'd
Sorry.
add one more thing. And there's no mystery on what it's going to be. Like the weights are set. And if you can't do that weight, then you go down to the scaled version and you do that weight. So it's not anything to be intimidated by.
Right. For example, if you know that the workout has for women 95-pound thrusters and you can't do that, the scaled weight is probably something you can do. My guess would be like 65, and you can approach it in that way of like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to do scaled because that's what's appropriate for me. And that's
I've done scaled open. I always try to go like, go, the open, not scale it, but I've been injured and I've not felt well. So I've done the scale and I loved it because it was for me manageable, and I was like, I pushed myself and I felt good about it. I did something and not do anything.
right. Yeah, and I've been pregnant or postpartum like kind of every other year for the last 6 years. It's really a fun special trade I have. But I've continued to do the open throughout all of those pregnancy and postpartum periods. And so I'm the queen of modifying. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll look at the RX workout and be like, okay, I know I could do it up until this point, and so I'm going to do it RX up until that point,
Yeah.
and then I'm
Yeah.
done. And that's whatever I accomplish is the score that I'm going to enter. And then I'm going to continue the rest of the workout and not count the rest of the workout. So we can always work with you on that too. I am truly the queen of that. If you are unsure of how to approach that, I can help you with that. Which also brings my last question, last point that I was going to talk about, which is like the mental headspace that we exist in during this time. It is absolutely true that the open can, for lack of a better word, F you up mentally. Like it is hard to watch yourself compare and contrast across the gym, across the state, across the country, across the world. That can be super negative for some people. It can also just be super negative to not feel like you're accomplishing much. It can feel like, well, why should I even bother? So I have been in that headspace before. I've watched myself get more fit and less fit so many times over the last 6 years in my motherhood that it can play a factor in your mental health. So one thing that I have had to train myself to do is like just not care about the standings against everyone else, but only myself. And we've talked about that throughout this whole conversation. But I'm wondering if there's any tricks you guys have up your sleeves to keep your mental headspace right, and where we are suggesting you keep it during this chat.
One thing that's worked for me, I can tell real quick, is at the end of the day, no one's going to remember your scores. So you're like, oh, I didn't do so well. So and so beat me. In a week from now, then 2 weeks from now, only maybe one member. I could probably think of two members that really are like could remember numbers. I can't even tell you what I did last year. I couldn't tell you 2 weeks later how I did, and I just have to remember like I am so big on I don't want to disappoint people, but no one feels disappointed. I'm the one that's putting the pressure on me. Everyone's just happy, and no one cares what my score is. They won't remember it the next day or the day after, and so I just have to remember that I'm a part of, and not worry about the numbers.
Right.
I think to Pat's point earlier, again, Pat, you're such a wise young man.
Wise for young people.
Just a sage individual. Listen, this for me, the thing I love about the open and being able to host the open is, like you said, Jocelyn, it's the community aspect, and it's the palpable energy in the gym on that Friday night. And it's meeting people that maybe you've never met before. If you're an AMer and you've never met PMers or vice versa, and these people are part of your tribe, and now your circle has expanded, right? And so it's bringing everybody together and having that experience that really only happens this time of the year. And like Pat said, no one's going to get first, and that's okay. And we're certainly not going to get last. And so if you go into it with that headspace, like I'm not competing to be the best in the world, right? I'm competing to just see where I am this year or see how I've improved from last year if you've done the open before, right? That's what we need to focus on. We don't need to focus on the score and the number and all of those things are fun and interesting, but it's not the end all be all of the open, right? The open is a magical time for CrossFitters, but it doesn't need to be a time that creates great anxiety, right?
Right.
It's just a super exciting, little bit different workout on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we've got your back. I mean, and not just the 5 people on this call, like the whole gym. Just like Matt said, at the end, this isn't fundamentally different than any other workout we're going to do. Some people are going to win the workout. Some people are going to do better than they thought. Some people are worse than they thought. But as soon as that workout's over, we're giving high fives, we're giving fist bumps. We suffered together and let's go celebrate, right? So that doesn't change because it's the open and because it's officially tracked. We're here just to enjoy the process with each other and suffer together.
Yep.
So in conclusion, to just put like a nice little kumbaya bow on top, it's a celebration of the ability to move our bodies together and see where we stack up against ourselves.
I agree. Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see if we do this again. Our goal is to stay 15 minutes or under, and I have no idea where we fell, actually. I forgot to start my stopwatch. So
If someone actually watches this whole thing, kudos to you. Again, we're just trying to give some information to people that are trying to get a feel for this. And I also have to give props to Josh Ord for that comment about like, you're not going to get first, you're not going to get last. I think that's a great way to think about it. And that came directly from him. So I want him to know that, you know,
this could be kind of like, this could be like our Easter egg. Like if you made it to the end, there's an Easter egg. Josh, if you hear this, Pat owes you $5.
I was gonna say a recovery drink, but
Josh, if you see this and come to me, I guess I have to give you $5. So all right, sounds
Nobody's telling them.
good.
yeah, you can't tell them.
We're the only ones.
All right. Well, this has been pretty informal, but it's my marketing obligation to end this with thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, team. Coefficient CrossFit. Find your constant.
Yeah.